What's up everyone? Today I'm going to show you how to make drums like this. So what is the key to writing punchy, memorable, interesting drum lines like the Chainsmokers? Because if you know the Chainsmokers like I do, they always have these strong drum lines that are very, very simple, but they work so well. And the answer to how they make such good drum lines, I think, is three things: good samples, good rhythms, and cool tricks to keep their simple rhythms interesting. And that's mostly what we're going to go over today when we remake this drum line. So let's jump into this and get right to it. Alright, so here we go. We got all the melodic stuff on their own tracks and we have no drums. So let's set the pace with the drums. That's what the drums do. They set the pace and they hold everything together like a nice skeletal structure. Okay, so I'm going to be using 5 drum samples to make this drum line today, and these drum samples I got from splice.com. So let's go ahead and grab the kick, which is the SS_ what did you say kick from the Singular Sounds Tropical House sample pack that everybody who has a Splice account probably downloaded at some point or another because they're super popular. And so I'm going to grab this kick. I thought it sounded very similar to the original. And I'm going to grab the clap snare, which sounds like that. It's not a snare, it's just a clap. And I'm going to make these 2 drums because these are the most important drums in this drum rhythm. I'm going to make sure they're perfect before doing any other layers. And so this is going to be a quarter beat clap, not a half beat. So we're going to put a clap on all the quarter beats. The quarter beats are 25% in and 75% in of each bar. And so this kick now is going to make a rhythm like a drum and bass rhythm, actually. Very similar to a drum and bass rhythm. And then we do this little double kick right here on the 3rd kick. And then we don't actually do another double until our 3rd bar. So this kick clap rhythm sounds like this. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the hi-hat, which is what I always like doing after the kick and the clap or snare. And the hi-hat that I used was this jazzy hi-hat that sprays over the attack or the front of the drop, first beat of the drop, and it looks and sounds just like this. But in the original, it actually rides out to the first clap. So if ever you get a sample that's not long enough, what you could do is you could actually grab it, turn on your stretching like that, and just stretch it to make it long enough to make it to wherever you need to make it to. Like that, and you get a nice long ride. Nice satisfying ride too. So I'm going to grab that and put it in the middle, or I'm going to put it on every bar. No, every other bar. So that one's good. So now what we're going to do is, because there's not much else to these drums, there's only a little hi-hat layer and that's really it. You have to get creative with keeping them interesting. Now you wouldn't always do a trick like this, especially if you have a lot of drums or if you're trying not to take the lead away from the lead. But in this case, we have a very, very empty drop. There's not much going on. So in cases like this, you're going to want to keep your drums interesting. And that's exactly what the Chainsmokers did. So for this trick here, you grab one of your claps and you layer it on every other clap. Like this. And so now no matter what, every other clap is going to sound different, which is cool. It creates a really interesting dynamic. But we're going to go a step farther And we're going to add a little bit of chroma reverb. You could use any reverb plugin to do this. So I'm going to use chroma reverb, and I think I liked the smooth space reverb. Then I just cut off the top here. And the key to making this reverb sound really cool, or this effect sound really cool, is to take the dry away, and you'll keep your original sample as the dry sample, which is going to be our clap. So right now, without touching anything, we're going to get this effect. But the original sounded a little bit more aggressive and tighter. So what I'm going to do to achieve that, so I'm going to turn up the wet just a little bit more. I'm going to turn down the decay, up the density, and up the size. Like that. And you got a really cool drum rhythm now that keeps it interesting on every other clap. Okay, so we have one more drum to add, and that's this little extra hi-hat here. I heard it in the original. I didn't really know what it was. It was really muffled, but this was the closest effect to it that I could get. And it sounds really cool. This will give you a cool idea for what you could do to add extra filler stuff in your empty, simple drums like this. So the first trick was to add that extra layer to your snare, and then you could take little drum loops like this that are not in BPM. As you can see, this is 117, but we're in 104. So I turn on flex pitch here. I could stretch this to 104 BPMs. If you're in Ableton, this is a lot easier to do. And if you're in FL Studio, it's pretty easy to do as well. And so what I did is I grabbed just the front of this loop. And you can pretty much put it anywhere, and it'll sound really, really good. So what I like to do is add the attack of this loop on, like, just pick a snare. So I picked the empty snare right there to put it on, and I'm gonna put it on that one. And then you get this like nice little effect that like adds a little power to your drums and adds a little bit of fillerness to it too. And just like that, you take your simple drum loops like we just did and add a couple simple pieces to it just to make it more interesting. And at the snap of a finger, you'll sound like the Chainsmokers. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.